Okay, this is Jamie. I'm just decided to make this video of my collected editions based off of like Wallace Ryan, kind of from Comics Positive. Saying that people could make videos of what they have on their shelves. So I figured, I've done some for my manga, but I figured I'll do kind of my main thing. I've been kind of collecting comics since I was about 10 and kind of sold singles on and off, but decided to kind of just focus on, sold all my singles a long time ago. I still collect singles, like newer ones, but I decided to kind of get rid of everything a few years ago of my older stuff, so I just have these. And first things first is probably my favorite thing that I collect is the Marvel Masterworks. You'll see I just collect the Amazing Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and the Fantastic Four I only picked up last, I think 2 falls ago. There was a really good deal on eBay, and I managed to get, I think, 1 to 16, so I was really happy for that. And then down here, again, finishing up the Fantastic Four, I have Daredevil, just starting off on the Miller run. Then Ghost Rider, decided to get that, start at the top. Human Torch, you'll see there's only volume 2. I have volume 1, but it's the soft cover. Iron Man, again, just a single one because it's the Demon in a Bottle one that I really wanted to pick up. Then Marvel Rarities. Finally, Marvel Team Up and Spectacular. Of course, I am going to have all the Spider-Man titles. Spider-Man's my favorite character. The new one of the Tomb of Dracula, or last year's new one of the Tomb of Dracula. Uncanny X-Men, I only have 10. Actually, that's one I want to go back and get all of them of. But they're kind of high expensive now. I kind of wished I'd sold my omnis of them when they were really worth a lot more money and flipped them and then kind of rebought them when they were reprinted. But I didn't. And lastly, Werewolf by Night. That just came out, so I still have yet to look at it. And then here we've got the Carl Barks volumes of Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck. The rest of them are on my other shelves. I just kind of put here because I love it that the Masterworks and the Fantagraphic Carl Barks Duck books are the same size. They're quote unquote true comic size. I love Barks. I remember the Gemstone ones. I've had a whole bunch of them, and then I love it that these hardcovers are being put out. And I've been collecting them pretty much since day one, and it's almost wrapping up. I think there's about mid-20s of them are out now, and I think there's only about 5 to 6 more, so probably another 2 or 3 years and they'll be collected. Down here, I have my Marvel Omnis. I've got Captain America. That was a Kirby one. Decided to get it because of just for the Bronze Age-ness of it. Not a huge. I would probably get the Silver Age. I read a lot of Silver Age and owned a lot of Silver Age Captain America, but wanted to give the Kirby one a shot. And then the Brubaker caps. I'm hoping they get a reprint of the last 2. Then the Defenders. I just decided to give that one a whirl. I don't know if I'll keep it. I think I'll give it a whirl, and if I like it, I'll keep it. But if not, I'll probably sell it. Then we got all the Daredevils, Miller's Run, the Marvel Knights. I put these in sequential. Then the Bendis Malvine Run, which was one of my favorites. I remember collecting that one in singles. And then, of course, there's the there's the Brubaker volume, the Wade, and then the most recent one, the Charles Soule one. Finally, I have the Soul. Oh, I have the one Doctor Strange. I think I kind of wanted to get this in Masterworks, but I think I just want the Ditko stuff. I originally bought this a long time ago and sold it, and I was happy they reprinted it. I think I'm only ever just going to get that. I love Stephen Ditko, and I think just having everything in one is just right for me. Fantastic Four, that one I'm gonna sell because I think I'm just going to continue to collect it in Masterworks. Wade and Ringo Fantastic Four, I was reading this and collecting it in singles back in the day too. I love it. Doctor Doom was a little nefarious in it, which I don't know if I like it as much as Burns' version of him, but well, it is what it is. And then the Hickman run, I had not read this. I just finally collected it because it was reprinted. Sorry, back again, there was a little kerfuffle in that. So yeah, the Hickman run, I think I'm going to read it and Hickman Avengers all together at once the last Hickman one is released. The reprint's released next year. Infinity Gauntlet, I read that growing up. so I always wanted the omnibus of it to get the full story. Ms. Marvel with Kamala Khan is a great volume. I think both myself and my youngest son have read it all. Silver Surfer, the original run, is a classic with Stan Lee on the writing stint, and then Even Better was probably almost as good as the Slott, or even better. I love Mike Allred, and having Slott write the miniseries was great. I'm happy to have it all, and I've had that for a long time. Down here, we're in the double dips. Of course, I've got the Amazing Spider-Man. I decided to sell 4 because with the new change in the spines, I just thought, and I have all the direct market covers of it. I just decided that I might as well sell it because 3 won't match the rest, and I don't mind if 1 and 2 do not because they're kind of together. Then we've got Stern, great volume. I'm kind of happy with the X-Men that, you know, with X-Men Volume 5 coming out, they're going to have 6 and 7. I'm happy that they're going to do the same with Spider-Man. I like Stern Spider-Man, but I'm hoping that they just have Amazing on its own. But still, it's great to have all those volumes together. Then we've got McFarlane. As a kid, this was my favorite run of Spider-Man. I didn't start reading Spider-Man until about the Bagley run, so I was always trying to get that original McFarlane run. And same with Larson. I think if I couldn't find McFarlane issues and Larson ones were just as good. I always love Larson's art of Spider-Man, especially when he gets beat up because his costume just gets torn to shreds, and the shattered eyeglass, like the lenses on his suit, I always thought was neat. And it's got, I think he gets a bit underrated. I love the Venom stories with him and Michelini. Don't really like the Venom, you know, crazy teeth and whatnot, but I love the Doctor Doom fight that he had. I think, I don't know, I find Larson's just a little underrated. Then we got like the McFarlane adjective of the Spider-Man. I more or less have that because I had the singles. It's not a great run at all. McFarlane, I can't really write worth beans, but I don't know. I had to have it. The art's still nice, and I had it as a kid. Untold Tales, still have not read that. Always wanted to because I loved Silver Age Spidey, so I should probably get on that. Next we have the Straczynski run. This was back when I bought this, was reading this when it kind of got me back into Spider-Man just around the 9/11 storyline. I was collecting it in singles then, so I'm happy to have it as complete. I don't really care too much about Brand New Day and the controversy around it. I'm fine with it. I wasn't really collecting it at the time, so I don't think it affects me as much. Not as much as, say, the Clone Saga. You'll notice that that's not here at all. It's probably the only Spider-Man I don't have. Again, Tangled Web, love the story. I've read that from cover to back. I find it can be really hit or miss. I like the creative ways where it goes. That was a great omnibus, and an even better one is the Superior Foes of Spider-Man. It reminds me so much of like a Guy Ritchie film with Spider-Man's kind of C-list villains. I find it's one of the best stories. That's a book I could almost give to anybody to read that's not really a superhero, and they'd find it to be funny and well done. Again, I would say that's probably one of the best omnibuses I own. Then we have Miles's run of Spider-Man. I haven't read them yet. I just kind of wanted to get it all complete. And Spider-Gwen at the end. I kind of bought that during that big sale. It's one of the few ones I have a remain rec. The big sale that was at the book outlet back in June. That was always on the fence about getting Spider-Gwen, but with that sale, I thought I gotta do it. And now we get into Thor. Of course, I have Walt Simonson's run, and then the longly awaited Jason Aaron run as well. It's the first volume. And then I just have Hickman's X-Men there. I kind of bought that as chapter was having a 40% off, so I have it in singles. So finally happy. I kind of now want to get the Dawn of the Dawn of Swords to go along with it as the OHC, but we'll see. I still have those in singles, so I don't mind too much. And then down here we have Uncanny X-Men 1, 2, 3, 4, The Mutant Massacre, Fall of the Mutants, Inferno, the Jim Lee, and I decided to get just the Inferno version instead of the Omnibus because I don't really care about the extra stories. I just really wanted the X-Men ones. Then I've got the Claremont Jim Lee and Celestri one. Love that. I had most of those as a kid. Actually, most of these I had a bunch of singles, but I'm actually waiting till Volume 5 comes out to read it all at once. I read lots of bits of it, more the end, and more of the Inferno run, and even the Extinction Agenda. Read that. Read a lot of the backstories from classic X-Men too, but I'm actually waiting to get Volume 5 to read it all in its entirety for a Claremont's run. I embarrassingly, as a kid, I met Chris Claremont. He came here to my city to sign comics when I was about 10, and I had 2 issues of him to sign, and one of them was the X-Men for that first appearance of Omega Red, which was a book he didn't actually write, but I didn't know that when I was that age. I had 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 he just gave it back to me. He was like, no kid, I'm not signing this. And then next I have the Astonishing X-Men with Josh Whedon. That's a great little story. And then the What Ifs. I really enjoy What If. I used to always read them at the supermarket. Issues were always a bit too expensive, but always a fun read. So getting them all in their entirety, and this is the first run, which is probably has a bit more quality to it, even though I read the second run of it. I really like these stories, and I've slowly collected a lot of them. Next, Excalibur. I'm actually, because of the kerfuffle it was to get this omnibus and it not being printed out, I actually went digital for it. So I'll probably sell it. I might keep it. I don't have 2. I think, buying collected editions can be a bit of a beast, so I think I'm not going to continue that run. It's a series I always wanted to read. It was always kind of the $1.75 issues that were just a little too expensive, so I never collected that run. And then the Doctor Doom Monsters came out fantastic. I actually Wizard had, back in the day, would have issues kind of detailing the best stories of every hero and villain. And I actually spent a long time collecting Doom's best stories based on, I think Wizard had 1 or 2 different issues of that every couple of years. So I spent a long time collecting those Doom issues of Fantastic Four, Amazing Spider-Man, and it's nice, and even a bunch of others. It's nice having them now all in one spot. I mean, I had them as singles for a lot of them, and when I sold the singles, it was probably one of the harder things to depart with. But getting them in one omnibus, it made it much easier to kind of part with them. And now, just moving over. So I went by the empties. I've got the Conan run. When I was a kid, I would always see this at the grocery store and really wanted to get it, but it was on the top shelf and I knew it was not for me yet. So I decided to get the original Marvel run and Savage Sword. I'm kind of bummed that, Marvel lost the rights, so I'll never be able to finish the Savage Sword run. Kind of steeps over into here. I even got the King Conan run, and we have the Dark Horse one, which I did collect in singles when it was coming out, so I'm kind of happy to have that. Next, we're kind of getting a bit of manga. I have Berserk here, and I'll move that out. And also Blade of the Immortal. I don't know if I'm going to collect all Berserk. I think I just kind of picked those up. Big manga fan, but don't know how I'm going to like. Blade of the Immortal I've wanted to collect since the 90s. And every time I decided to, a better version would come out. So I just finally decided to... I finally waited until the deluxes came out, and now I finally have them. I read the first volume, but I'm going to wait till it's completed to read it all, so that way I can just read it all in one story. That's kind of what I like to do with my manga. Here we've got some single Marvel Masterworks. You see there's the Human Torch in soft cover. I've got some of the earlier ones. I think that's the Avengers, the first Avengers and the first Uncanny X-Men. Those were more an accidental buy from a very nice shop that's down in St. Catharines, Ontario. But I was looking for Spider-Man 9 and 11, and they sent me the original ones, but they're first prints, so I decided to keep them because it's kind of nice. And here we've got the continuation of the Donald Duck Carl Barks run. Again, this is a great series, one of my favorites. I can't wait till it's completed. I always read it when it comes out. I love Barks' art. Not a huge Don Rosa guy, but always been a Barks guy. I don't know why. Don Rosa's too scratchy for my likes. And just behind it, probably... Oh, I've got Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind. That's a great manga. Just the singles of it. I have the hardcover of it too. Highly recommend it if you're a fan of Akira. This is a great story as well. Then I've got Usagi, the IDW ones. Kind of those smaller Usagi hardcovers. They're just the signed ones, but I have the Dark Horse 3-in-1s. They're just upstairs. And then Scott Pilgrim 1 and 2. I don't have 3. I think I just bought those via Kijiji for cheap, and I still have to get the last one. I have them in smaller ones too. And then Nightwing's up there. He hasn't been... Yeah, that's been the great run with Tom Taylor. I just haven't organized it yet. And the next shelf I won't really go. They're more manga and odds and ends. And I think just there I've got, Clover. These are kind of doubles I have of some manga. My singles that I still haven't put away, you can actually see there's the Gemstone Carl Barks ones. One Donald Duck, The Last Ronin, which was a great Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles story, and then a Batman run. I picked that specific one up. That is the Neil Adams kind of run. I got really upset with the Adams, God rest his soul, but I got upset with his re-inking colorization of his original stuff, so I decided I only have that one volume of his run, even though it's in black and white. I like it that it's just the original art and it hasn't been touched up. Okay, now going over here, I'll probably go down. This is just the DC omnibuses. I have Aquaman, Batman Black and White. I had all those in singles. Robin by Tomasi, I haven't read them. Grant Morrison's run, I have read. Grant Morrison, I can be real hit or miss for me. Sometimes I enjoy him, but sometimes I just think he's too much. He's kind of a guy that I appreciate his writing. I mean, I even got Doom Patrol, but I don't love him all the time. I have Blackest Night for a DC one. And The Question, I have yet to open that, but I've been very anxious to do it. And down here on the DC run, Final Crisis, Flash by Jeff Johns. I was reading those in singles. Again, then we've got the Man of Pool run. I really like the Flash. I'm not a huge Wally West fan, but a very big Barry Allen fan. I know that seems weird that I've got the Johns run, but I find I enjoy Barry much more than Wally. Even though Wally kind of was around during my era, I always felt he was a bit goofy, whereas Barry's just right. And right there, we've got Gotham Central, which is, I still haven't read it. I've had it for a long time, but I don't know, I always put it around. And then John's run, the Green Lantern with Hal Jordan. Yes, I know I have the one volume with the different DC logo, but I don't really care about stuff that too much. And then down here, Infinity Crisis. Then Injustice. Injustice was pretty good. I don't think I'm going to get volume 2 though. Justice League New 52. I bought that. I have the Absolute. I don't know if I'll keep it. Justice League International. I bought this run because when they made the reboot, like when Giffen and DeMatteis was doing the reboot in the early aughts, I loved it, so I decided to collect the original run. JSA, have not read it, but I'm a huge Jeff Johns fan, so I can't see it being... I can't see not loving it. I think the reason I like John so much is just because he does it good. He's good at getting that classic Silver Age feel, but with more of a modern storytelling. He's the kind of guy who could write a story that you can appreciate as an adult and as a kid as well. He's very universal. Down here, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and Lucifer. I guess maybe League shouldn't be in with the DC stuff. Yeah, it should be. Lucifer again. I loved Sandman, so finally wanted to get that volume. Super Sons was a great storyline. I just have the OG one. I decided not to get the reboot of it. And then here's Teen Titans Legendary Run. I have not read it, of the Perez run. I just haven't gotten around to it. Teen Titans by Johns, I have read. I collected that in singles. It's still sealed, but I had all the singles and read. Actually, my kids were reading it when Walmart was releasing those kind of trade ones. We'd go to the border and pick some up. And then down here is just a Silver Age run. I had a lot of Silver Age stories, so I just collected the Flash and Green Lantern. World's Finest I kind of decided to as well. I don't know if I'll keep them, but or maybe I'll keep Lantern and Flash, but maybe not World's Finest. I just kind of wanted a bit of Batman stuff. It kind of reminded me of books that I read as a kid. I was just given a bunch of Silver Age stories from my father's friend who read them as a kid. His mom was a school teacher and had comics in her classroom, and I kind of got all those comics from over the years because she felt that anybody reading, as long as they were reading something, it was great. So a lot of fond memories of that. And then last year we have Batman's Brave and the Bold run. This was a nice little run. I like it that it started off with Neil Adams, then Jim Aparo. This is really the only way you can collect sequential Batman Bronze Age items. So I wanted to kind of get the whole run. I even had Batman and the Outsiders as a kid, which was the continuation of this. So it's nice to have it complete finally. I think I was so mad when that third volume was delayed. And then speaking of Batman, we'll go up and look at just the hardcovers I have. These are just the Batman runs of different characters. Brennant, Williams, Ween, Breyfogle. Jim Aparo only have the one because most of them I have in the Bronze Age now. Matt Wagner's Michael Golding is a great runner. Matt Wagner, love to. I think I have those in trades more of Matt's ones. And then the Engleharts one, that was such a great volume to get because we finally got some good Bronze Age Batman. I know the trade of some of Englehart's stories was very hard to get, so I was really happy to get them. I think hopefully they'll make Batman Bronze Age volumes, and then I can just collect them all at once. Here we've got the Capullo and Snyder run of Batman. Totally fine having them in small HCs. I'm not a huge fan of the massive omnis. I was fine about just keeping my 10 volumes. Then we move on to Year 1 Batman. Emperor Penguin, that was the detective that was coming out, same as Capullo. Then I've got more of a recent modern Batman run right here. Or no, a detective run. And I stopped collecting them because DC was DC and decided to change it from hardcover to softcover randomly and then back to hard. So that was it with me in DC. Getting over here again, Batman and Superman team up. I had those in singles. Then Tales of the Demon, fantastic. I really love having that run of early Ra's al Ghul. I find he's my favorite Batman villain by a long shot. Very much, I like him more than the Joker. I like it that Batman kind of as an equal. That run of the 70s stories is great. Same with Batman Universe. I know Bendis gets a lot of flack for his writing, but I've always liked him, and I think that's a great Batman story. Then I've got all the what are those? Oh, they're just the All-Star Batman run. The Deathstroke one from the Rebirth, I have that as its own. White Knight, I think I bought that 2 or 3 times as singles, then as a trade, then as a hardcover. I think the OHC is here too. I probably should sell it or just give it to somebody who would enjoy it. Same with Curse of the White Knight. We got Night Out. Then I was starting to collect Batman hardcover with the Dark Designs, but I don't think I followed up. I have some older ones, trades too. Red Rain, Arkham Asylum. That's a really old leather-bound Arkham Asylum. Now we are at Flashpoint, probably one of my most favorite Flash story of all time. I always get teary-eyed reading it. Here we've got Morrison's run on Green Lantern. Justice, just the one HC. I got it as a deluxe. I think it's an absolute 2, so I probably should get rid of that. And then some Mr. Miracle. There's the other Nightwing by Tom Taylor. A hardcover Sandman. So, love Sandman. Originally read it in singles when I was in university. I got them all for fairly cheap, for like $1 each for most of the run. And then I decided to wait for the OHCs that came out last year, and I was really disappointed that they came out with the new colorization, like the Absolutes. So I'm slowly trying to get all these hardcover ones because they have the original colors, and kind of a stickler for that. Next is Sergeant Rock. That I bought. I remember buying that right off the stand when it came out as a hardcover. It's a great Kubert story. It came out in the early aughts. We got Burns' run of Superman. Anyway, and then here we have the last of the DC HCs. Just a little bit of Superman. World's Finest by O'Neill. Then I have Captain Harlock. That's a manga, but that's actually a French version. Or it should probably say Abattoir. But it doesn't, because it's done by a French, even though it's a Japanese manga, this one's actually done by a French writer and artist, so I think that's pretty neat. I have his mangas as well. TMNT with Usagi. That's how I discovered Usagi, was the cartoon back in the day, so I'm happy to have that one. And then the Marvel Longshot. Probably going to get rid of that because it's now going to be in the next OEC. And these are all my Marvel trades. Some of them I won from Near Mint Condition, Acts of Vengeance and whatnot. And then same with the Ends. I've read those as singles. Marvel's New Avengers, Avenging Spider-Man. Oh, the Spider-Man Deadpool, that was nice to collect. New Ways to Live, and then I'm a big stickler for Amazing Spider-Man, so I'm trying to collect as much as I can. There's Life Story, Spider-Man, those are kind of things that are missing from omnibuses. I loved Renew Your Vows. I thought that was a great storyline with Peter being married to Mary Jane and having a daughter, and superheroes are kind of outlawed. And then Wolverine, the end, Ecstatic, some classic G.I. Joes. I decided to go digital with G.I. Joe. I actually had Volume 15 as well. That's what really got me into comic books back in the day. And then the other stuff were just things I'm going to sell because they're double dips, like New Frontier, some Man of Steel, Long Halloween, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and some old Masterworks. Anyway, I'll finish the shelf in a little bit. I've got to go to hockey.